Content. You can't cut it. That's kind of the intro, no?
Yeah.
Welcome back to another video. Today's video is all about answering your comments because the videos that we get go viral the most are about my soap scraps and how we don't waste anything and how we sell all of our soap scraps as soap scraps. And I'm not even joking, I have hundreds and thousands of comments on all my videos and all the platforms saying, why don't you just make confetti soap? Why don't you just do that? Or why don't you just melt it all down? Why do you sell them? Why are you trying to get money off people? Why are you selling them? So I thought it would be a very good time to do a video today showing you what it would look like if I followed through with your comments and why we personally as a business don't do this. This video is going to be cut into two parts. The first part is where I'm going to be melting down some soap scraps into a brand new soap, showing you the process and showing you the end result. The second part is where I'm going to be making some confetti soap, and my soap base of choice today is going to be some melt and pour soap, stuff that I don't really use but I just thought it would look quite nice, and I'll also show you the end result, and at the end of the video I'm going to explain why we don't do this and the sort of reasons behind it, so skip to the end if you want to know the interesting stuff. Okay, so I've got my induction hob and my pan. I've got my soap scraps at the ready, which are my Santa baby soap scraps. I've got my mould and my spatula as well. Ignore the jelly mould, I don't know why I've got that out. I'm just popping in the soap scraps. The pan isn't on at the moment. Here they are in their pan ready to go. Okay, I'm going to add in a little bit of water. I don't know how much. I'm just going to put a little splash in. And that should just help keep things together. And then we're going to put the induction hob on and just keep mixing it until it's melted down. Right, I've got the induction hob on, everything's in the pan, the soap and a little bit of water. I'm now just going to give it a little mix and just sort of watch it as it starts to melt and just keep an eye on it. If I find that it's being a little bit slow, I'll just turn it up a little bit. But I'm not going to walk away from this, I'm going to keep an eye on it and just slowly keep stirring it and watch it melt. So I think we've got this about as far melted as we possibly can. I'll do a close-up now of what the texture looks like. This does not look like soap when we first make it, but I'll give you a little close-up now. Okay, so I think this is about ready to get in the mould now. We're going to use our loaf mould, just because then we can slice it into actual bars and you can kind of see what it would look like if it was in bar form. Okay, so that is the soap in the mould. We're going to leave this until 48 hours and then we'll be able to cut it into bars and we can show you the final results. Overall, very, very lumpy. Not every single bit of soap actually melted down, but I don't know, it still smells kind of strong at the moment. The scent I don't think will be as strong as it was originally at the start of before we melted it down. But yeah, so far it still smells pretty strong. The room smells good, so that's the first round done. Part 2 of this video, I'm going to be showing you like what it would look like to turn the soap scraps into a confetti soap. Because another comment that I get across all the platforms, like I could honestly bet that I'll get commented if I posted the soap scrap video tomorrow, is why don't you just make confetti soap? And the reason I get asked that comment a lot is because our friends over the pond in the US don't have the same cosmetic laws as here. They can pretty much just wake up, make a soap and sell it. And a lot of them make really, really pretty confetti soaps. Confetti soap is essentially where you take little shreddings of soap, put it into a brand new soap, and when you cut into it, it looks like confetti. They're really, really pretty, but we have strict cosmetic laws here, which I'll explain later on in the video. So, right now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut up some Melt and Pour soap. This is the Stevenson's Melt and Pour soap base. The reason I'm using this rather than my own soap recipe was because I don't really get to play with Melt and Pour, and I just thought it would look quite nice having a translucent soap, transparent soap, sorry, with the shavings in it. I've actually got some bits here that I've already cut up. I'm going to pop these on my chopping board, cut them up a little bit smoother, and then we're going to add in the soap scraps. Okay, so that is all my Melt and Pour chopped up. They're all in very similar size pieces. They're pretty much the same size as like a jelly cube. So I'm going to pop these in my jug and we're going to put this in the microwave in short bursts, mixing it in between each burst. And once it's all melted, we're going to come back. Right, so my Melt and Pour is fully melted now. I've got my soap scraps at the ready. I've got my mould at the ready. I'm literally just going to pour the Melt and Pour in there and add the soap scraps to it. Okay, so this soap is all made now. Oh, I'm actually not going to tip that up actually. We've got it all in there. I don't know how long this is going to take to set, but once it's ready, I'll show you the final cuts. So it's been about a week now since I poured these soaps into their moulds. With the Melt and Pour, it was ready after a few hours, but I thought I'll just do it all together. So we're going to have a little look now to see what it looks like when they're both cut, and we can show you the final result. Okay, so we're going to do the Melt and Pour one first. This one seems pretty firm. I haven't really experimented a lot with Melt and Pour, so I don't really have a lot of experience, but I know that this was ready after about, I don't know, a couple of hours when I poured it. This looks pretty cool actually. I'll kind of show you to the camera. If I had some isopropyl alcohol in a little spray bottle, that would have got rid of all the bubbles, but I didn't have one, so I wasn't too bothered. That actually looks quite cool. Tori's just going to come and take some content above me so you can see it at a different angle as well. Okay, so I'm just going to pop this on the cutter. I have no idea how hard this is going to be to cut either, but ooh, it's a little bit firm. Oh my gosh, that is so hard. I don't know if this is best on the wire cutter actually. I think I might have to use a knife. I don't like to stress the wires too much on the cutter because they will break. So although it did go through a little bit, it's a bit too hard I think for the wire cutter. So I'm going to get the knife and the chopping board. Okay, so I've got the chopping board and my knife. Let's give this a go, chopping it manually. To be fair, it's quite good because I have got the lines on here already from the cutter, so I can try and cut these in fairly straight lines. Ooh, I like how see-through it is. We'll do a close-up above me as well in a moment, but that looks quite cool. Right, let's get an actual bar out and we can show you what the bar would look like. That looks so strange. I do like how it's see-through though, that's really cool. Right, we'll do video from the top so you can see how I'm cutting this and a bit more close up on the camera. Top tip when you're using a knife and you want to get it straight, because I used to chop with my knife and my soap bars rather than with my wire cutter. Top tip is to have one hand at the end on top of the knife obviously, one hand on the actual knife, and put your weight over it, and that will help you cut down in a straight line and you never get wonky bars. This would be quite cool to do if it was like, I know that some people they will curl up the cold process soap into little like rose kind of shapes and then put it in Melt and Pour. It's like a classic thing that you can do with Melt and Pour soap. That would be quite cool with the confetti. See how they're like, I'll try and show you to the camera on here as well. but you can see how they're like in layers, like strips. If I just like wrapped them around and did like a bit of a petal pattern, a petal design, that would have looked really cool. Okay, so now we've finished up cutting up this one. I'm going to show you what the other one looks like, and then we'll do a little bit of a summary at the end as to what I think about everything in general. Okay, so I'm just taking the remelted cold processed soap one out of the mould. It feels quite soft, actually. Oh. It's almost like it hasn't set, but it has. Like it's had over a week to like re-harden. And I'm not actually too sure why. I don't know whether it's because our recipe doesn't contain palm oil, so to balance that out, or whatever the word is, like to compensate for it, we use sodium lactate, which makes our bars harder. But I don't know why it's quite floppy right now. It almost feels like cake or something. Literally fold that in. I don't think there's any point in even trying to cut this, actually. I think the wire cutter might get it too messy. I might cut this with the knife as well. Like I'm literally breaking it apart. I don't think we need the knife, but I actually don't know why this is so soft. I might have to go and do a little bit of research and see if that's normal for a remelted soap. It might just be the ingredients that we use. I literally have no idea. I've just realised the reason this soap is so soft is because I think I added too much water into it when I was rebatching it. So I'm going to have a quick look now online and just see if I'm right, and just see if there's anything else that I could have done to make this into a harder bar. I've had a little look online. I was right. I added way too much water into that. I've actually never rebatched cold processed soap before. This is the first for me. I thought it was going to be quite straightforward, but it turns out when I'm looking online, it's supposed to be a really, really slow process. It's supposed to take about 2 to 3 hours from what I've seen online. So you're supposed to put it on like a really, really, really low heat, slowly mixing it, and add a little bit of water in it at a time. I think the recommendation was like 15 millilitres of water to every 100 grams of soap. So I've just put in way too much water, basically. So there we go. I don't actually know if I'm ever going to try this again. I'm just not bothered about rebatching my soap, to be honest. But if there's anyone that's watching that wants to rebatch this, go and Google it first. But this is how maybe not to do it. So, as you saw in part 1 of the video, I remelted some of our cold processed soap down. And as you saw, it never goes as smooth or as like fluid as it would when we first make soap. It looks a little bit fugly looking. You also may have noticed that I added in some extra water because I kind of needed to, so it didn't burn and it helped it keep it all together. And because I'm adding in extra ingredients there, I legally cannot sell that soap as a soap with my assessments, because we have cosmetic product safety reports in the UK, which we have to have for every single variant of every single product that we sell. For example, I've got 2 salt soaps here. One is called Frosted Cranberry and one is called Pineapple. Although the base recipe for both of these is exactly the same, I add a different fragrance and colour into this than I do to this. They're 2 different variants. For each of these, as just an example, I have to have a different cosmetic product safety report. So with the soap I made earlier on, because I've added in more water, that recipe is no longer the same as the original Santa Baby recipe that I made for my soaps to turn them into soap scraps. So I just can't sell it like that. Second reason why we don't remelt our soaps from our soap scraps is time consuming. It takes so much time. There's just no need. Like, why would we do it when we're actually making them into soap scraps and selling them that way? They already sell. It isn't a problem for us to sell them. So it's just adding on more time that just isn't needed to be spent, wasted doing that. In the second part of this video, you watched me turn my soap shavings into a brand new soap, and it's a confetti type of soap. The reason we don't do this is, again, A, it's time consuming, it's unnecessary. We're basically making a whole new soap just to use up soap scraps. It just isn't worth our time for us. The second reason is that I'm making a brand new product by adding in the melt and pour, so therefore, again, this brand new soap that I've made, it no longer is in line with my current CPSR that I have for that soap. It's a brand new, completely different product. If I wanted to do that, which I would like to do confetti soaps in the future, I would have to have a new assessment for the confetti soap, where part of it was to make, I don't know, green confetti soap. I'd make the soap first, shave it all down. The second part of the assessment would be, I don't know, a white soap, and add in the green bit into that. But as a whole, it's a product by itself, and that for itself would be a new variant on that assessment for that soap, if that makes sense. One way that I could do that currently with the soaps that we sell, for example, our Unwind soap bar here, it's purple and it's yellow. What I could do is I could make the purple bit first, wait until it's turned into a soap, shave it all up, cut it into little bits, make a yellow soap and add the purple in there. I can do that, that's not a problem. But we just don't choose to do that with the current soaps that we sell. But I think in the future that might be quite a nice idea. Another point for both of the soaps that I've made today is by turning them into a brand new soap, I'm still gonna have end pieces and bits that I've got to shave off. So it's kind of like a never-ending recycling process for the soaps. It's like never ending. So by using the soap scraps in a new soap, I'm not solving the problem end to end. We're still gonna have scraps. So what are soap scraps and what am I talking about? So soap scraps are pieces of soap that we otherwise wouldn't sell. They might be the ends of the soaps, the shavings, the ugly soaps, bits like that. For example, I've got some Santa baby soap scraps in here. This is the same batch that I used earlier in the video in the 2 parts in the soaps, so the same stuff I've been using. I have some of Santa's noses here, which I pre-piped to put in the soap. I didn't need them, and I think this one broke, so I've got some of those left over. We have some of the ends of the soap, so like, you know when I have the loaf of soap and we chop off the end, these are the end pieces that we just can't sell because they're not a full-size bar. And another couple of bits here as well, which are a little bit fugly looking end pieces. So those are soap scraps, and the way that we normally sell them is in a refill bag like this, about 250 grams. And as a customer, when you get them in the post, you can use the end pieces as a smaller bit of soap, and the smaller pieces you can use as a bit of soap if you'd like to, or put them in a soap pouch and wash with this in the shower or by the sink to ensure that every last piece is used up. This is just our way of using and selling all of our soaps, so there's no waste at all. And do you know what? Since we started selling these, we pretty much sell out of soap scraps every single launch, so they are a customer favourite and they sell really well for us. So overall, we won't be doing these going forwards, but I just thought it'd be a really, really nice idea to show you guys with your creative and really thoughtful ideas what it would look like if they came into practice and why we don't use them, and give you a bit of an explanation. So I hope this helps. Thanks for watching another video. We do currently post a video every Sunday at 2 PM, so make sure you keep an eye out for the next one. If you haven't already, go and give us a follow on all the other platforms. We are very, very sociable on Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, and Facebook as well. So make sure you give us a little follow. Check the description for all the details, and see you next week.